think we can all agree to disagree on the what is the perfect gun argument. But what I wanted to talk about today is a combo gun as maybe the best forager's gun. So today I'm out foraging for Ganoderma mushrooms, scouting for some tsugaes, picking some puffballs, and hunting for grouse. And so I want to kind of cover all my bases. And when I'm foraging like that, this is my go-to do everything gun. Look at those fall colors up there. Beautiful. So it's just after the fall equinox. Doing a little hunting with a friend and looking for mushrooms. So I guess we're not hunting, we're foraging. And, I don't want to get into any crazy gun debates, but I was going to talk a little bit about this particular style of firearm as a forager's go-to in the fall. So let's just talk about this. This is a Valmet combo gun made in Finland. It is a 12 gauge over 222 Remington. And the reason I bought this gun is because I was also able to get a 222 to 22 long rifle conversion. So I can pop this into my 222 barrel and I can shoot 22 long rifle. And that's kind of advantageous because although it's not an ideal deer cartridge, this was at one time a very popular deer cartridge, 222 Remington. But with 22 long rifle I can hunt grouse and hares and other small game like raccoons, and yet I have the flexibility with the 12 gauge to hunt for grouse, waterfowl, and so on. Okay, I also have all my bases covered. If I'm squirrel hunting, I don't really have huntable squirrels in my zone, but I have that option, and it's very easy to carry. This is this little safety kit full of 22 long rifle shells. So that all goes in there, and now my hunting outfit is like completely contained. I'm not mixing my hunting equipment with my foraging equipment in my basket. I've got this this buttstock carrier that carries a row of shells. It has a pouch, so I throw my shotgun shells in there and all my extra 22 ammo. And with flip-up sights, this can be a very accurate rifle and also a great shotgun. And hey, quick shout out, 22 ammunition is super cheap, so I have a whole ammo crate of it, and this and a bunch of other ammo crates that I got came from Princess Auto. They have more surplus ammo crates than the Canadian military, I think, if you have a peek at their online inventory. Okay, so this is a very versatile, jack of all trades, master of none kind of firearm. I'm in Northern Ontario, and a real classic up here would be a break barrel 410 over 22 or 20 gauge over 22 Magnum. You see a bunch of those as well. I happened to shop around and get this import because I liked the idea of the rifle cartridge that I could get the conversion kit for to shoot 22 long rifle. And because the 222 Remington is still a 22 caliber bullet, that means 22 long rifle is still taking advantage of all the rifling in this long barrel, and it's going to have basically as much accuracy as if I shot it out of a 22. So this, I need a new sling for this because this leather sling is always slipping off my shoulder. But when you're foraging, you're going to want to have your hands free. So it's good to have a sling or some kind of a gun carry system. You know, if I really wanted to, I can take this down. I know I can take it down somehow. I don't do it very often, but I can break it down into its component pieces and stash that in my pack or in a different pack, and then it's just right out of the way unless I get into a situation where I want to use it. And then it just takes a minute to put it back together, All my shells are right here where I need them, loaded up and good to go. The disadvantage is the weight. So right now, this whole kit together is 4.3 kilograms. So it's not that light. What I've got here are 4 222 Remington shells, 1 conversion shell, a couple of dozen 22 long rifle shells, and 5 shotgun shells. So there aren't a lot of foraging scenarios where I'm going to go through all that ammunition, right? And if I was worried about that, it doesn't take a lot of space to just have 50 more 22 long rifle shells in your pocket, or a bunch of 222 Remington. They're very small, they're like 223s basically, and more shotgun shells. And kind of cover all my bases. So we are in a big hemlock stand. This is kind of adjacent to a little beaver pond on this steep slope. Got little spots where there's trickles of water running through here, which is the kind of habitat that hemlocks really like. And they are the exclusive host of the hemlock varnish shelf, the reishi Ganoderma mushroom. And it's the right time of season for them. So we're just poking around and looking for dead and dying hemlocks, fallen hemlocks, hemlock stumps, and having a little snoop for other mushrooms as well. So we're just sort of popping from hemlock log to hemlock log and hemlock stump to hemlock stump. There's a big one right there, but no Ganodermas on that one. And from time to time, I'll pop up a wood duck or two in this beaver pond, but it doesn't look like anybody's in here today. So this black cauldron fungus is just waiting to release spores, and sometimes if you make a little bit of wind or you blow on them, they'll release a cloud of spores. There it is. I had to be careful not to breathe all those in. We're growing little black cauldrons in my belly. Look at that beautiful chaga right down here at face height. Beauty. There's a little nub of one up there too. But like, look at how big that is. I earmarked this one for Steve. I'm gonna come back in the winter, do a maybe a snow on the ground snowshoe hare hunt and collect chaga. We're in like a chaga hotspot here. This one's low to the ground, but most of them you need a pole saw to access them. Just have a little peek at this guy. Oh yeah, so we got scabers on the stalk and that poor gills. So that's a lechinum or a lycianum or a lycinum, but you can see it's been chewed up pretty thoroughly by the slugs. Check it out. So we're following this ridge of hemlocks, and here are the hemlock varnish shelves, and they are dusty. There's the purple color. You see that? And how are we looking underneath? Beauties. Perfectly white pores. So, mission accomplished. Got some beautiful Ganodermas. I'm going to put those in my harvest basket here, which is why I brought such a big basket for such big mushrooms. And then we'll move on to our next mission, which is to get a grouse. I think they usually just, maybe I'll cut them. You can use a little saw or a little knife. But that one's pretty good. It's got a little bit of browning on the bottom, but that one's in pretty decent shape. This one's in perfect shape. So Steve's going to be happy about those. And then, can you get in right close? There's just like a little baby button of one starting here. So there's probably going to be another one later on. So that's pretty cool too. I'll take that one and leave that little guy. Check out this chunk of birch burl. It's like as big as a bathtub up there. That's crazy. And then right over here, like I've passed by so many that I haven't shown, but there's another really nice chaga. And this one's basically at like a real easy height to reach with a pole saw. And there's a bunch of them around, so noted for January. I think that's probably a moose. It's a bit early for deer, I think. Like that looks like a moose track, and that looks like a moose track. So I'm going to say that this was a moose thrashing up this little yellow birch. So here's the, I'm going to have to look up the name, Pleurocytibe porogens. I think some people call it angel wing. And this is a very pretty white oyster type mushroom. Look how beautiful it is underneath. And I guess a lot of books listed as toxic. So Steve was explaining that some people in Japan died of it, but on closer analysis, they were all suffering from pre-existing kidney conditions. So there's definitely some people who eat this in North America without any problems. And it's been a good year for it. Lots of it around. And not too far from there, got a little puffball. It's too soft though, it's old. So you can see the ones beside it have already spored out. If you've never puffed a puffball, you might as well have a little look at that. You can squeeze them and the spores come out of them. And take you for a little walk over here to the wolf's milk. These little pink bubble gums here. Oh, good thing we came over here, because here are some jelly hedgehogs. Those are the first ones I've seen this year. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you got these wolf milks that you can... Ew! Ew! Pink goop, not edible. The jelly hedgehogs are edible. I've picked and eaten these before, but they're not like super interesting. But you can do like a little bit of an icicle pickle, sugar pickle type thing with them, which is neat. I think I'm just going to leave them today because there's just the 4 of them. Look at how nice a shape these... Oh, hey Toady. I didn't see you. Hey buddy. Toad and puffballs. That is not a recipe. These guys are in good shape, so maybe I'll pick a little handful of these and make a little mushroom dish later. Let's see if I can just drop this camera here. It's not gonna work. I need a cameraman. Thanks. Okay. So just cut them off at the base, and then before you cook them, you always cut them smaller, but cut them open and just make sure they're good inside. These guys are all pretty firm. Yeah, so we just picked mushrooms on that stump, and then on this sugar maple, got a bunch of these oyster mushrooms growing here. There's lots of puffballs here. Lots of puffballs. If you want to fill a bag with puffballs, this is your spot. I've also been using this, who makes this again? I always forget. I go to talk about it and then I forget who makes it. Anyway, I'll just pop it up on the screen. But this is a 2-shell carrier that goes on your belt. So you can clamp it onto your belt or onto like a vest. And that's been handy because it just allows you to have 2 shells that are right there and accessible. And they are a pretty tight fit in here. So you'll see that there's a little rubber piece in the middle, and that's giving a lot of grip on these shells. And I've been lugging this around for like days and days and days, hunting and foraging, crouching, running into trees. I've never had a shell fall out of this, and I'm carrying them shell down because it's just easier to pull them out of the carrier that way. So that gets a thumbs up from me. And this pack basket's getting a thumbs up. I was successful with Ganoderma hunting today, and pretty happy about how that day went, even though I didn't get grouse this time. Anyways, I got a couple of other ideas about like pretty good foraging firearms, like things that are easy to carry when you're foraging. The key is that because you're not focused on just hunting and you want to keep your hands free, there are certain firearms that are best suited for that, or more ideally suited for that. And you know, drop me a comment below if you want to see some more review and foraging videos along those lines. Catch you on the next one.